all end all. But if you can pop and absolutely go from a second rounder to a first rounder. And you can also have a really, really bad combine and go from maybe fourth rounder to sixth rounder. That was Will Howard this weekend, the quarterback for Ohio State. He really struggled. Now, I think Will Howard, I said before the combine, feels like a fifth rounder. He may be a sixth rounder. But here's the thing that jumps out to me. Joe Burrow is one of the only examples of a college quarterback that played with a stacked roster and then went to the NFL, and year after year after year after year after year, no doubt is a top 10 quarterback, top 3. One of the reasons I like Shedeur Sanders, because he got the crap beat out of him at Colorado. No run game, awful offensive line, always trailing, basically had to create his own offense. Will Howard at Ohio State, think about this, completed 61% of his throws at Kansas State. He goes to Ohio State, a much better conference, and completes 73%. Did he get that much better in the year? No, it's called Chip Kelly. It's called 2 NFL running backs. I mean, Shedeur Sanders had no run game. Will Howard had 2 NFL running backs. Go look at the receivers Ohio State had. Jeremiah Smith would be number 1 pick if he was in this draft. Number 1 pick. Okay, Emeka Egbuka, the receiver, would be the number 1 receiver on NFL teams. He was the second best receiver for Ohio State. And this is not a knock on Will Howard. I thought he was I don't see him as a franchise quarterback. I think he's a really good backup. Again, moves pretty well, big kid, did not have a good day. But this is why I've said this before, that there's a reason that Miami of Ohio has a better all-time quarterback historically than anybody that played at like Ohio State or Alabama or USC, is that if your college experience, I mean, I was looking this morning, Will Howard, if you look at sacks, Will Howard was sacked 13 times this year at Ohio State. Shedeur Sanders was sacked 42 times. He was under duress on every single snap. That's what happens when you get drafted in the NFL in the top 10. You end up on bad teams with bad O-lines, often bad position coaches. So Will Howard was flying private at Ohio State. Will Howard was flying private at Ohio State. Shedeur Sanders was in row 42 on that airline that's bright yellow. And you know my theories on airlines. I want red, white, and blue as colors. I don't even like gray. That signifies age. And I will not fly airlines that are bright yellow. So Shedeur Sanders was running for his life, no run game, often trailing, had to create his entire offense. And that doesn't mean Will Howard's not talented. But Joe Burrow is one of the only guys that went from a stacked college roster, and then you look 5 or 6 years later and you're like, oh, God, this guy is an all-time player. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And Joe Burrow had to transfer. So he had some turbulence in his career. And here's the other thing. Will Howard and Shedeur Sanders. I found this hard to believe, but the guys gave it to me. Both had the same number of interceptions. Now think about that. Shedeur Sanders has no run game and is running for his life, had 10 picks. Will Howard had the best receiving core in the country. Chip Kelly. Ryan Day's a heck of a coach. You're looking at the numbers. Same number of picks. And by the way, Shedeur had more touchdown throws. I mean, look at those numbers. So I'm not again, this goes back to, I'm not anti-Jason Tatum. I am not anti-Will Howard, but the numbers don't lie. When you have a protected college environment and as a quarterback, history says, I mean, don't you think it should be linear, right? You're a 5-star high school quarterback. You go to USC, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU. You have the great players, and then you're like a number 1 pick and you're a star. It's not the way it works. It is not the way it works. Drew Brees went to Purdue, right? Start looking at it. Big Ben, Miami of Ohio. Jared Goff, Cal. Aaron Rodgers, Cal. A lot of these stars. Andrew Luck went to Stanford. A lot of these star quarterbacks got the you-know-what beat out of them in college. That prepares you for the NFL, not sacked 10 times. comfortable pocket. I mean, there were 2 or 3 games where Will Howard was uncomfortable. Penn State, he wasn't great. Michigan, he was bad. Texas, but again, Ohio State had the better team.
Hey, some breaking news from the Super Bowl champs, if you're interested. Just a small piece.
All right.
The Eagles are releasing Darius Big Play
that guards wide receiver. And he said this weekend, that is harder than doing what Shohei Ohtani is doing, which is pitching in baseball and hitting in baseball. So let's start with this. First of all, Shohei Ohtani isn't just pitching in baseball. He was the starting pitcher for the American League in an all-star game. What Shohei Ohtani is doing, if it was football, is playing quarterback and Mike linebacker. Pitching in baseball isn't just splitting out wide, throw me the ball. You can't get batters out in Major League Baseball because you have good cardio. Pitching is a craft. It is developed over a decade. Multiple pitching coaches. It's like golf. You got a bunch of clubs in your bag, and if you have any weakness, you can't pitch at the Major League level, and you can't play on the tour. Driver, 5-wood, putter, all have to be elite, or you're not a tour player. In Major League Baseball, velocity, control, off speed, closing pitch, everything matters. A cornerback in football, as they say, is a wide receiver that can't catch. And a cornerback and a wide receiver share a lot of the same skills. Twitchiness, good hips, elite speed. Now, again, not many people are great at it, but they share a lot of qualities. Okay, pitcher in Major League Baseball and hitter in Major League Baseball don't. Go ask Tim Tebow about baseball. Go ask MJ about baseball. Patrick Mahomes had 1 appearance as a college baseball starter. He got run. He got run. By the way, Deion Sanders was considered a rare historic two-way player. He hit 260 in the bigs. That's what he hit, 260. So don't kid yourself on shit. What Shohei Ohtani is doing is like Babe Ruth on HGH. Like it's a Mahomes had 1 appearance as a college baseball starter. He got run. He got run. By the way, Deion Sanders was considered a rare historic two-way player. He hit 260 in the bigs. That's what he hit, 260. So don't kid yourself on shit. What Shohei Ohtani is doing is like it's not the be